In this tutorial, we'll create a loading bar using geometry nodes. The bar will easily adapt to the desired animation time. We'll use nodes to work with text, and also use curves to create the indicator itself. Finally, we'll add a couple of simple shaders and apply a glow effect in the compositor.